Hello and welcome to this edition of Utah Libraries Have You Covered, coming to you from the Utah State Library, Blind and Disabled Recording Studios. I'm Jeri Openshaw, along with Jason Powers at the controls, our producer. Hi, Jason. And we're very, very honored today to have one of our own in the building next, well, not even a building, next door at the Division of Services for the Blind and Visually Impaired. And he is, you won't believe it, the woodshop teacher. And he teaches blind and disabled students how to make things in a completely dark room with saws and lathes and all kinds of things going. Welcome, Ray.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're more than honored to have you here with us today. So let's get into, I kind of want to know your background because you make some beautiful pieces and I've seen them. And I know we talked earlier, Governor Herbert used to have you make cutting boards to give away as wedding gifts. Yeah. And apparently you made about a dozen or more of them.
Oh, probably close to about 5 or 6 dozen throughout the years.
I'm sure they appreciated it. I'm sure they did. So Ray Wright, tell me about your history. Where do you come from? How did you get here?
Well, I'm originally from Southern California in the Pasadena area and born and raised there, lived there, went to school, started working there. And then, in 2007, I moved here to Utah, and I was blind at that time, so I don't know if you want me to go and...
Oh, yeah. Tell us a little bit about your condition.
Okay, well, I have retinitis pigmentosa, which the common symptoms are tunnel vision and night blindness. Although until the very end, when I went totally blind, I never really experienced the night blindness. It was mostly just the tunnel vision. Mm-hmm. So growing up, I didn't know I had it. I wasn't diagnosed until I was 22.
Whoa.
Although in school, I would be a bit clumsy at sports. Sometimes I could miss the football when it was thrown to me, and other times I would catch it. So I thought I was just clumsy. I didn't know I had a eyesight problem.
Interesting.
And when I went to the eye doctors for normal checkups, it was never pointed out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I used to drive. I got my license when I was 16, and Southern California, drive all over the place. As we say, we even drive to our cars. So yeah, normal childhood growing up. When I was 16, I got a job working as an usher in a movie theater, and loved the movies. My dad worked at Universal Studios, so I kind of grew up on the sets when I was a kid. And so we got into a thing where I said he made them and I showed him. And anyway, I worked in the theaters and worked my way up through the ranks as an usher and then an assistant manager and then a full manager and then into the corporate office where I did publicity and promotions and became a company photographer.
Okay, here you are with an eye condition being a photographer. How did that work out for you?
It was great, actually. I didn't realize it at the time, but because I had 20/20 central vision, but no peripheral vision, the camera lens acted as a visual aid. So if I needed to see wider, I'd just have a wide-angle lens on the camera and be able to look through that. And so if I was at a red carpet premiere or something taking pictures, I would be able to look straight ahead through the camera lens and take pictures of whatever celebrity or whomever I was taking a picture of. Until the end there, when the night blindness was starting to affect me a little bit more, and I got cataracts, which is a side effect of RP. And that was causing my vision to get a bit blurry. So I would actually have a friend stand behind me and say, Tom Cruise is at 3:00 or Clint Eastwood is at 5:00 or something like that. So
you would just turn and point, and then
I had an autofocus camera, and I could see the shadows and outlines at that time, so
Right.
I could frame it okay, and I didn't have to worry about focusing it. And then after the picture was processed and developed, and then I could actually see if it was a good shot or if the actor or actress had their eyes closed or what have you.
Wow, I'm so impressed. I mean, who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
And you did that for how long?
Well, let's see, 7 years. I worked for the theater company for 17 years. And so, I guess about the last 7 years. And then when my vision got so bad that I couldn't do that, and the night blindness was kicking in, so I couldn't walk from the lit auditorium or the lit lobby into a dark auditorium. I stopped working at the theater, and then I went and started my own graphic design business, and would do Photoshop and
Really?
different layouts and stuff like that for different, brochures, design logos, retouch photographs, whatever. Because my central vision was still okay. Oh, but that's after I had cataract surgery, which gave me
well, there you go.
I had that, and it gave me about another 5 years of very good sight with glasses now.
Mm-hmm. Then how did you end up in Utah?
When I went blind, I thought my life was over, actually. I thought, now what am I going to do? Everything graphic design, photography, movies was all very visual. What am I going to do?
How devastating.
It was.
And you're only how old at that point?
When I went total, 40. Yeah. So I got diagnosed at 22. So 17, 18 years, my sight deteriorated until I went total. And I thought, what am I going to do? And had no idea. I was home for a few weeks, depressed and just trying to figure out what it was. And then actually, believe it or not, it was Christopher Reeve who played Superman.
Oh, and there was just a documentary about him not too long ago.
Yeah, it's a great. I just saw it not too long ago. It's a great documentary. It's up for an Oscar, actually.
It is.
So, and I hope it gets it because
you'll be watching. I know.
Yeah.
Take you back a little ways from the red carpet to Utah.
Yeah. But I was watching his interview with Barbara Walters, and here he is sitting in a chair, can't move, can't talk, can't breathe without assistance. Mm-hmm. And I thought, wow, Superman can't even walk or talk. Oh. I just can't see. What am I worried about? Oh. So he was a real inspiration for me to realize that you can go on, and he had such a great mindset that
it's too bad you can't tell him.
Yeah. And I had met him.
Of course.
A long time ago on the set of his first movie, which was called Gray Lady Down with Charlton Heston. But anyway, so I thought, what am I going to do? And then I had a good friend of mine call up and said that there was at the Senior Center, the Braille Institute was going to talk about blindness and different things you can do. And so I decided to go to that. And I went to that, and there was a rehabilitation counselor there. And she was talking about this Center for the Blind in California to learn how to walk and use a cane and read Braille and talking computers and
learn how to adjust.
Yeah, and talked about the audiobooks and BARD and the library services, which I had no clue about.
And we don't think about it, but there's so much to learning to adjust. I mean, it's everyday things, making your bed, cooking, just cleaning, just general stuff, walking to the bus, just so much.
Exactly. And so I went to that, and the rehab counselor was talking about it, and my parents were with me, and I said to my dad, I said, I wonder if she knows what she's talking about. And my dad said, I think so. And I go, why do you think that? He says, well, she's blind.
Oh, you didn't know?
No, I said, she is. And he said, well, she has a guide dog, so I believe so. And so afterwards, I went and talked to her, and she told me about the orientation center for the blind up near San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
And so I checked into it and went up there and did 9 months of training. And then when I was up there, I met a girl up there, and we ended up falling in love and getting married. And
it's always a girl.
Yep. My sister lived here in Utah, and we came out here on vacation to visit. And she didn't want to live in the L.A. area where I lived, and she was up in the Bay Area, and that was too expensive. And so we came out here on vacation to visit my sister, and realized that everybody was so nice, and transportation and that we came here to check out the blind center and price of housing and everything, and decided to move here. And so we moved here in 2007, and I did not understand the address system here.
Oh, it is a bit different, isn't it?
Oh,
that would be hard for somebody whose sight was impaired.
Well, it was just, and since I've talked to people that have moved here, I don't think it's a sight impaired thing. I think it's just
where to start. And yeah,
once I learned it, I love the address system now. but when I came here, I thought, I know my mobility, but I don't know my orientation. And I got asked to go to I had to go to a doctor's office. And they said, it's 102 South State Street. So I took a taxi to 102 South State Street and went into this office and asked the person behind the desk, I'm here for my doctor's appointment. She said, there's no doctor here.
Oops.
I said, isn't this 102 South State Street? She said, yes. And I said, well, this is it. And she goes, do you have the phone number? So she called the office, the number I had. She kind of chuckled a little bit. And then she said, you wanted 10,200 South State Street. And I said, they said 102. Oh, yeah, we just knock off the last couple of digits.
That's tough.
So.
But you made it.
Yeah, I thought, well, I got to figure this out. So I came here to the Blind Center and
as a student.
Well, they said you need to take classes, and we'll teach you the address system here and how to get around. And so I signed up and took the full gamut of classes. I got a refresher course in Braille and and in home management. And
was there an aha moment like, man, this has really saved me?
Yeah. I mean, in California, when I first did it, it was like, wow, I can't believe all these other students are going around like it's no big deal. And that was such an inspiration just from everyone else and the staff. And
that's
and
awesome.
Then when I came here, I got the same experience that, blindness is just something that you have. It's not a disability. You just have to learn to do things different.
That's right. And at this point in this century, it's a little bit easier because of the adaptive technology that exists now that didn't years ago.
Well, that's true. When when I typed, I only used two fingers. And so I had to learn how to keyboard and learn the screen readers. And oh my gosh, the first time I heard the sound of Jaws, I hated the voice.
Oh yeah, it's a little disruptive.
It was terrible, and now it's one of my favorite voices in the world.
It brings you info.
It does. It opens up the world, and so and technology is always changing. So when I came here, I got updated a bit, and they had a woodshop class, and I took woodshop and fell in love with woodworking.
It's awesome.
So when I left here, I started my own little woodworking business.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You still have some woodworking outside of here?
Yeah, I still have I guess now the phrase now is a side gig.
Yeah.
Where I do an occasional craft show or Christmas boutique or Comic Cons or Fanics, they call it now.
We talked earlier. It's been years ago. I know you probably had only been here a few years, but we did call for entries for art pieces for folks who are blind and disabled. And I thought, maybe we get half a dozen, maybe a dozen. I got 164 entries, including yours.
Wow.
Yeah, 164. We had so much interest in that show, and I really do think we ought to do it again. But one of your pieces was in that show, correct?
Yeah, my final project that I made in woodshop was I have an old player piano with the paper rolls that you would use on it, and so I made a cabinet that would hold the paper rolls. And I still have that sitting in my living room now.
And I have to say that the pieces that you folks work on the feel of them is different than things that you feel like if you go to R.C. Willey and feel something. And the cutting boards are like glass. There's nothing that makes it just feels like glass. They're so smooth and perfect. They're great.
Well, I like to say the requirement I ask of my students is I want to have it to be good enough to give as a gift or good enough to sell, to make it look professional.
And they are. Apparently, according to Governor Herbert and his wife, they were impeccable. So there you go. Okay, so you're a student, and then what happened?
Well, I was a student, and when I finished the program, I just found a passion for woodworking. That I had taken woodworking in junior high and high school, and my dad had woodworking equipment in the garage, but I was around it, but I never used it. But I just felt such a passion, and I thought this is a way for my creative juices to go from being visual with photography into a tactile kind of art by doing the woodworking. And
good for you. That's very, very incredible.
Yeah, and the lathe is what I really fell in love with. There's just something about the lathe and taking the blade to the wood as opposed to the wood to the blade.
So you filled in.
Yeah, so I started my woodworking business, and just as it was starting to get going, I had some health issues in between when I left the center and that. But once I got over that and just getting my woodworking business, Adam Rushforth, our coordinator now, he called and said the shop teacher was moving out of state. Could I fill in part-time until they could hire a new teacher? And I said, yeah, I could do that. He said it'd probably be 2, 4, 6 weeks, something like that. I said, sure, no problem. Well, I fell in love with the teaching part of it as well. So I applied for the job, and I was lucky enough to get it.
And we're glad you did.
Thank you.
Let's talk about students matriculating into the system when they come to the woodshop class. Walk me through their first day. I mean, they've got to be terrified because that's like you can't see anything and it's loud in there.
Well, I don't know exactly what's in their mind, but I know my mind when I was a student. The first couple of weeks of training, I thought my head might explode. Just trying to remember everything and all the classes and how can they be doing woodworking, but with the teacher I had, if I could do it, everybody else could do it as well. So it was a great way to be able to pay it forward.
Right.
And so, students come in and some have experience where they've done woodworking, lost their sight later in life. Mm-hmm. And so they know pretty much how to do the woodworking. They just need to learn the non-visual way of doing it.
Absolutely.
And then we have other students that have come in and never, maybe a wooden spoon's the only wooden object that they've touched before.
Oh.
And then they come in and learn from scratch. It's an awesome experience. I love it.
Yeah. So what do you have? I mean, there are obviously special tools. Tell me, how you train these students and what tools you use to help them.
Okay. Well, first of all the equipment in the shop except one are regular off-the-shelf equipment like you'd buy at any good hardware store, lumber yard. The table saws, the lathes, the compound miter saws, the sanders, the routers, anything like that. There's nothing special about it.
Okay. That's terrifying.
Not really. Most people that get injured, it's because they get lazy and they don't follow the safety rules and they take the guards off the saws because they can't see the pencil lines. Oh. But we don't use pencil lines, so we don't have that for an excuse.
Sure.
The only special rule or tool that we use is called the click rule, or a click ruler, depending on who you talk to, and that's designed for measuring. So it's a tactile ruler that is basically a threaded rod inside a metal tube with a little ball bearing in it, and every 16th of an inch it makes a clicking sound.
Oh.
So you count the number of clicks, and that's how you measure with it.
I think that would be great for anybody.
I wish the sighted world would get into it, because they're, like with anything when you're blind, they're more expensive, but everyone sighted in the wood turning club I'm a member of, everyone else is sighted in there, and when I show it to them, they're like, "Where did you get this?"
I want one.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What are the projects that you give them off the bat?
Well, the first project the students get, they make a braille block, a practice block that is about 2 by 3 inches and is tactile, and it they learn how to measure and mark with the click rule, and they use a handsaw to cut it, and the drill press is the first power tool they use to drill the holes in it. And then we use dowels, cut them into pegs to represent the braille dots. Mm-hmm. So this way they can practice their braille when in their off times or whatever. And so they make that first. And then the second project they make is what I call the adaptive cutting board. And with that, they learn how to use the compound miter saw, the jointer, the planer, the table saw, the drum sander, the shaper, how to glue and clamp their different species of wood together, cut it to different lengths so you don't glue two of the same species together, and then trim it up, and then how to sand it. And I have a motto. You mentioned something about it, our stuff feeling like glass. My motto is you sand, sand, and sand, and when you're done, you sand some more.
It works. Those cutting boards. Anyway, so it's from the peg.
Yeah, so from the braille block, and then to the cutting board, and then after that we go to ballpoint pens. We'll turn pens with wooden shafts on the lathe.
I have one and I treasure it.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Well, thank you. They're good. They're really nice and a fun project, and I always say in woodshop, in our class, we build two things. We build things out of wood, and more importantly, we build confidence. Because if you can learn how to use any of the equipment, you can do pretty much anything. And by having the pen in your hand, if you're at the bank or the doctor's or wherever and you pull it out and someone, they ask for your signature or something and you go ahead and sign with it, a lot of times they'll say, "Oh, that's a nice pen." And you say, "Oh, yeah, I made this." And they're like, "What? You made it?" That's the confidence that
it's
you
good
get.
PR, too.
It is. It is. So, and it's one of the favorite projects of the students.
Yeah.
And then after that, the fourth and final project is the choice of the student, whatever they want to make within reason. I had someone wanted to make a king-size bedroom set one time. That was a little out.
That's a little much.
Yeah, but we've had people make end tables and hope chests and wooden lightsabers and adaptive chessboards, baseball bats, skateboards, bowls, vases, lamps, jewelry boxes, pretty much something that they can use.
Sure. And literally the lights never come on. And if somebody has a bit of sight, it's my understanding they wear blinders.
Yeah, so that's true. The lights are off in the shop, and all the students actually wear a blindfold.
A blindfold.
We like to call them training shades.
Oh, okay.
And
training shades.
Yeah, and it acts for two reasons. If you have a little bit of sight, that can actually be more dangerous than the shop than no sight, because your depth of field might be off and your hand might be closer to the blade than you realize if you're trying to look at it. So by learning how to do everything in total darkness, then you have to rely on your touch and your other senses.
Senses.
Yeah, and it works, it works out good, and it also acts as eye protection.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, which is, very important, because I can tell you that even though my eyes don't work, it still hurts if you get a little piece of sawdust in it.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, and that's hard, a little piece of sawdust. So here's a question I'm sure you get asked many, many times. How many injuries?
Well, number two question I get asked, do I have all my fingers? And here I'm holding
there
it
you
up
are.
to you.
You have them all. He has 10 fingers.
And but in my class, we have not had one injury, no trips to the emergency room, not a stitch. A couple of times, we've had a few splinters, and that's about it.
Impressive.
Yeah, it's a record that I'm very proud of.
Absolutely. So you've been doing the woodshop for how long?
Coming up on 11 years now. Yeah.
Wow, from the red carpet to the woodshop.
Yeah, it's hard.
From LA to Utah.
Hard to believe 11 years. When it was only supposed to be 3-4 weeks or something like that.
The whole program is such an impressive, wonderful program. I know that I've had questions, especially young people who have the same thing you have. One young fellow who was in denial and said, I'll be fine, but finally ended up over there. I mean, there are so many great elements to the program. Just quickly, in a nutshell, give me an idea of what they can learn over there.
Well, you come into the program and you learn Braille, so all of a sudden you can read and write again if you didn't know it before. You learn cane travel, the O&M, the mobility, so you can learn how to take front runner and take tracks and all the, get around in town, go do stuff, blend into society, participate. Then you learn home management, and our home management teachers are great. You learn some really great recipes and techniques, so you can go home and make whatever you want. Once you learn the techniques, you can make whatever. And then the computers, learning all the technology, whether it be the talking computer or your e-reader.
Right. There's so many things.
The iPhone or an Android phone, the smartphones. And then we have our electives, which we also have a fiber arts program. So if you want to learn to knit or crochet or quilt or sew or macrame, anything like that with the fiber, you have your option of doing that or the wood shop. And so those are kind of like the elective you get to take.
And the folks over there are so great. They really are. We love them.
Yeah, well, everybody is an expert in their own field, and I learn so much every day from all of them.
And there are apartments as well. So there's some on-site you can stay. Is that right?
Yeah. So if they're called apartments, I call them more like a dormitory.
Dormitory, yeah.
You know, but they're super nice. They're like the Taj Mahal of dormitories. But yeah, if you live here in Utah and you want to be a resident, you can stay in there and not commute every day for classes. Mm-hmm. And you have to meet the certain qualifications they have. Yeah. But you go and stay there in the residence, and you have your own room, you share a bathroom, and then you have common kitchen and living area. And you learn how to cook and fend for yourself. Well, and that's it. Part of it in the apartments as well, or dorms as well. Yeah, you go in the evenings and fix your dinner, and like you say, make your bed. You got to keep the place clean and everything out. And on the weekends, you're on your own, learning how to grocery shop so you can fend for yourself and live independently. What's the age range now that you see? Well, it varies all the time. The youngest person I taught was actually 16, but they weren't living there. They got special permission from high school to
you do
take
have
wood
to be
shop.
18 generally.
Yeah, so primarily 18, and the oldest person I taught, I believe, was 86.
Oh, awesome. That's terrific.
Yeah.
Well, Ray Wright, you are the sensory impairment specialist at the Division of Services for the Blind and Visually Impaired, the woodshop teacher. It has been a sincere pleasure having you, and I encourage people who need to come and visit. Yeah, please come down, call and make an appointment for a tour, and come and check us out and see what we're all about. Absolutely. Ray, thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Jeri. This has been a pleasure. We'll do it again. Sounds great. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for joining us today. We're coming to you from the Utah State Library, which is a division of the Department of Cultural and Community Engagement. Services offered through the Utah State Library include library services for the blind and disabled, the Bookmobile program, Book Buzz for book groups, Utah's online library with useful databases, and Libby for audiobook checkouts, and so much more. Check out all the services at library.utah.gov. That's library.utah.gov.